Hello and welcome to the 160th of a second photography podcast. In today's podcast, I'm going to be talking about the cameras I used on probably the most special day of the year for me, which is Christmas. In fact, it's maybe not one of the most special days of the year for me. I do find that the birthdays of my children are more important than Christmas, but still Christmas is a big family event and it's one where I take a lot of photos. So the night before Christmas, we as a family make our preparations, put out sacks and put out things for Santa. But I also get some cameras ready and I make sure they're fully charged, make sure the batteries and the flashes are charged. So this year I got my Canon 200D with a 35mm lens set up, got the battery charged, got a flash ready for it, got the batteries charged for that. Also got my camcorder out, put that ready. Batteries charged as always, and my Sony ZV-1. So when we get up in the morning with the children and we're a bit bleary-eyed and they're opening their presents, my wife can pick up the camcorder if she wants to, and all she has to do is unfold the screen or flip out the screen, press a button, and she's recording. And it will record good sound, it will record good picture, and it's okay in low lights. It can be a bit muddy. So really, it's easy for her. And the ZV-1 is, again, another easy camera. You can pick it up, you can take video with it, and you can take photos with it that are good quality. In fact, both the photos and the video are very good quality from that. It's small and it's easy to use. It's a great little camera. So those are there for my wife, who's not as photography minded as me and not as technical in photography. But of all the cameras I've got, I still go for the Canon DSLR. I don't have the most up-to-date cameras, but I've got compacts, I've got GR3, I've got ZV-1, I've got a smartphone, I've got a camcorder, you can take pictures on that, and I've got Canon DSLRs. I've got a full frame 5D original, I've got a 550D, which I don't see the point in selling. I'll get hardly anything for it, so I keep it as a spare. And I've got a 200D. And my go-to camera for Christmas Day is the 200D paired with a 35mm lens, because that gives a rough equivalent of 50mm field of view or focal length, and we can get some nice blur in the background. It's an f2 lens, so we can get some nice blurs. It works well in low light. Now, why would I pick the 200D over the Canon 5D? Now, if I have the Canon 5D, I could put my Sigma 1.4 50mm lens on, and that would give the same field of view, but it would give a f1.4, and that would be even better in low light, and that would be even better shallow depth of field, and that's a lovely lens as well. Well, one, it's heavy, and two, the focusing, the Canon 200D just focuses so well. Face detection is very good. Got two children. If I use the live view focusing system, I can even switch between the faces, which I think is really good. So I'm shooting normally at f2 on these sort of things early in the morning, Christmas lights on, Christmas tree lights on. I'm shooting f2, fairly fast shutter speed, and I can get things in focus really quick. And to be honest, the low light capability, it isn't the need really, because I put a flash on the top and it's TTL. And I've got a nice white ceiling, so I just bounce flash to get a balanced exposure. So I don't really, the 200D is very good in low light anyway. It's not the best camera out there for low light, but I think it's good. And again, because I use a flash, I don't need to go to extremes. I'm happy at 6400 ISO, to be honest, on the 200D. It's a great camera. And it always reminds me, when I talk about the 200D or when I get it out for a particular thing, that DSLRs aren't dead, and Canon DSLRs are very good, particularly the 200D. I don't think it's worth the upgrade for the next one up. The 250 gives you 4K, doesn't really give you much more. I think the Canon 200D is the sweet spot of Canon APS-C DSLRs. It's sort of like a mirrorless, but not. It has a lot of mirrorless capabilities. It's light, it has an optical viewfinder, but for the family shots I'm using the LCD, I'm using the touchscreen, just because you can touch the focus, it's quick enough, and you get the Canon dual pixel autofocus. You can also switch into video. So I do think the Canon 200D is still a great camera, and I've done several episodes on it of this podcast just talking about it, because it's an easy camera, it was really cheap, it's probably one of the best value photography items I've ever bought, and I'll be using it for years to come. It's just such a good camera. So I've got some excellent images of Christmas Day, of happy children, of presents opening, that I'll treasure forever because my children will grow up. They'll be less excitable as they get older for Christmas Day, although I think children always do remain quite excitable for Christmas Day and on Christmas Day. But yeah, just such lovely memories, just such excellent pictures, captured in RAW. Pick the best ones, edit them, and then get them stored somewhere safely, get them put up on the wall, etc. So part of my Christmas routine, as I've sort of discussed, is getting the cameras ready for a bit of Christmas capture. And some of the video and some of the images that I took on the day, I was able to edit into a short little film that I could send off to people within our family who we wouldn't see. And normally, if we weren't in a pandemic and things weren't as they were, we would see family members over Christmas or around Christmas, and this is probably the first year since we've had the children that we've not seen family members. So at that time, capturing those precious moments are more important than ever, and it's more important to share those with people. So again, all those things come in really handy. Being a photographer and a videographer does come in so handy at certain points of the year when you can just get things and they look really polished and really crisp and really clean, and you're proud of them and you're more proud to share them. Again, if I'd used a smartphone, really would have struggled to get decent images and decent video. I'm not knocking smartphones, but there is something classic about a DSLR. A DSLR is a workhorse. No doubt it will get replaced completely by mirrorless at some point, but I don't think we're there yet. Anyway, it's nice to be back doing the recording of podcast episodes. I do take a break in the year, or I'm starting to take a break in the year and go over the old episodes, refresh those, give my thoughts on them. But now I'm back recording new episodes, and let me know what you think. If you do have any ideas or anything you want me to cover in my recording of episodes, do let me know. Get in touch via Instagram. And speaking of Instagram, I would really appreciate it if you could follow my page on Instagram. I finally set up an Instagram for the podcast at a time when I'm not going out and doing much photography. But if you could head over to Instagram, I'd really appreciate it. I really appreciate a follow, a like, etc. Do check me out on Instagram. Do have a nice week, and do try and get out, do something creative within the restrictions or within staying safe wherever you live. Thank you. Goodbye.